This video is an introduction to whittling all of the different pieces of a chess set, and in this video I'm going to go through a few of the most important things to keep in mind before starting to work on this project. Those things include the scale I'm using in this project, what kind of wood I recommend, what kind of tools are necessary and what are optional but very beneficial. And I'm also going to dive deeper into some of the basic cuts that are going to be repeated throughout this project, because it doesn't really make sense to go deep into the same cuts in all of the different videos. Let's start with the scale. So traditionally, the sizes of the pieces vary quite a bit, and the sizes of the bases of the pieces also vary. And how the scale of the pieces matches to a board usually comes down to the king, and the diameter of the king's base is traditionally somewhere between 0.75 to 0.8 times the width of one square on the chessboard. Now I wanted to make this in the 1x1 inch format because that is one of the most popular formats, and a lot of people have these 1x1 inch blocks of wood. And since the bases of the pieces are circular, the biggest possible circle that you can make on a 1x1 inch block is of course an inch in diameter. And in order to not waste too much wood, I figured that the biggest block, so the king, should be as big as we can fit within this format. I also happen to have access to this board, and one square on this board is 33 millimeters across. And luckily, if you do the math, 75 to 80% of 33 millimeters is 24.75 to 26.4 millimeters. And that means that the 1x1 inch block, which is about 25 millimeters, fits perfectly to this scale. The next thing is the choice of wood. So you definitely can make this project using your typical whittling wood, and that is exactly why I chose this 1x1 inch format. However, what I typically use for my whittling projects is this European aspen, which on the Janka hardness scale scores 380 in pound force. That's very close to basswood, which is a popular choice, and usually scores about 410 on the Janka hardness scale. And whatever wood you're using, a typical recommendation for effortless whittling is to pick a wood that's somewhere between 400 and 700 on the Janka hardness scale. Now that can make this whittling project quite easy. This was made with the European aspen that I usually use, but very soft wood like this is not something that is traditionally used for chess pieces. There are a lot of different types of wood that are used for chess pieces, but the uniting factor is that usually the wood is pretty hard, and that makes for durable, nice feeling pieces that can stand the test of time and that feel like really good quality in your hand. This pawn was definitely fine to make, but especially with some of the smaller details on these other pieces, a very soft wood can definitely be a little bit tricky. And what I found out is that most of the woods that are used for chess pieces score somewhere between 1000 and 3200 on the Janka hardness scale. So it's definitely fine to use your typical whittling wood, but if you have the option to use a harder wood, maybe something on the low 1000s on the Janka hardness scale so that it's not too difficult to whittle, I definitely recommend picking a wood like that. What I'm using is silver birch, and the pieces turned out very nice, and due to the small size of the pieces, the whittling process itself was very enjoyable and not too strenuous at all. Now the difference in hardness between these two woods is actually quite a noticeable one. So this silver birch is about 1250 and this aspen is 380, which means that this is over 3 times as hard as this. And that is also something that you can notice in the weight of these blocks. This one is much smaller, but it's still almost the same weight as this much bigger piece. just a 4 gram difference. Let's get into the tools next. So right here you can see everything that I used for this project, but only these two are what you actually really need. Even the pencil really is just for some added accuracy. So a knife that you can make details with is what you need, and everything else is basically just extra. So what I have here is 2 bigger roughing knives, an axe, a handsaw, I have a drafting compass, a ruler, and a little bit of sandpaper for making the bottoms of these pieces nice and flat and smooth. And like I said, one detail knife is really the only non-negotiable. But next, along with some of the most frequently repeating cuts in this project, I'm going to show you how to use this stuff to make this project a little bit easier and faster. So the drafting compass is obviously for making perfect circles. And from this point on, you can just whittle away everything, or you can use this splitting technique to make the initial shaping a little bit faster. So this could just as well be a hammer. I'm using it in combination with this knife to split the wood like this. The handsaw is used for cutting the pieces into appropriate lengths. And like I said, the sandpaper is just for this bottom really. But you can also use it for some very small details, or even to make the larger surfaces smooth. A ruler with millimeters is definitely useful if you want to copy the exact same measurements that I use. This one just felt slightly nicer in some cuts compared to the detail knife, so that's the only reason I used that. And then about the cuts made with the detail knife. The stop cut is the most heavily repeated cut in this project. Something like this is going to be made many times during the making of these chess pieces. So the basic idea is just that we press the blade into the wood like this, go all the way around the block in most cases, and then we just make the basic stop cut. Most of you are already familiar with this by now. And the way this works is just that you repeat this many times. And that way you can get deeper into the wood. I am going to mention whenever you need to make these cuts, but due to the high amount of repetition that's going to happen, I'm not going to go very deep into each one of these stop cuts. That would just take way too much time, and it would be pretty slow paced to follow. Another cut that is very important for this project is this very shallow push cut. This is going to be used for rounding the pieces. So after you make these kinds of stop cuts, the piece often becomes a little bit uneven, and then you can refine the shape, strive for that symmetry, and do it pretty easily with these very shallow, small push cuts. I've gone through this cut in my rounding video, but the basic idea is that you keep the angle of the blade so that it doesn't take off a huge chunk like this, but instead keep it close to the wood so that you can just shave off the very surface. We're also going to use the same technique for rounder surfaces, but in those areas the cuts also need to be a little bit shorter. Similar things are going to be made this way. The idea is the same, removing just a little bit of wood at a time. Alright, that's the basic background information for this project. I'm gonna be putting out the tutorial for the pawn in just a matter of few days probably. And after that there's gonna be a series of tutorials going through each of these pieces. So if you want to get into this project, click right here to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of the videos in this series.